Hey everybody, it's Miss Porter with the Virginia Tech String Project, and welcome to another String Sinfonia video. Today we're going to talk a little bit about rhythms so that we can incorporate that into our warm-ups. So before you get your instrument out and before you listen to me ramble on for a minute, I want you to pause the video and do some of the stretches that I've shown you before. Do lots of big muscle stretches and then get all the way down to little muscle stretches. And then I'll see you back here. Okay, now what we're going to talk about first, before we get into our warm-up, is we're going to talk about rhythms a little bit. You guys know eighth note rhythms. You know them very well. If you're in 4/4, the amount of eighth notes you can fit in 4/4 is 8 eighth notes, right? Because a quarter note gets a beat, and each quarter note has 2 eighth notes in it. So you could have 8 eighth notes in a measure of 4/4. Now, we've talked a little bit about triplets before, and triplets, instead of 2 eighth notes per beat, makes you play 3 eighth notes per beat. So that means in 4/4, you can have 12 eighth notes. The only difference is you're dividing each beat differently. So I'll show you a little bit of what I'm talking about. Okay, you'll see at the top here that we have eighth notes, and I've divided them and paired them up so that you can see that there are 4 beats in that measure. Now below, I coupled them into 3 groups of 3 because they're triplets, and a lot of times you'll see triplets that have a little bracket over them or a line with a 3 over top to tell you that it is a triplet. Now, these are eighth note triplets, which means you have to fit 3 eighth notes into one beat instead of just 2. So really all you're doing is dividing the beat differently than you would normal eighth notes. You'll also find later, as we get into more advanced rhythms and more advanced music, that triplets can be applied to just about any length of note. You can have triplet half notes, triplet 16th notes, triplet quarter notes, pretty much anything. You just have to divide that beat differently. So you'll see that we've got eighth notes in the top, and there are 8 eighth notes. And at the bottom, instead, because we have triplets, there are 12, since we have 3 triplet eighth notes per beat. So here's where things get a little tricky. We're going to combine the two. And by combining the two, I mean some beats are going to be triplets and some beats are just going to be normal eighth notes. Now that just means that we have to figure out a way to mentally divide each beat of a measure differently. We have to divide one into triplets and then the next one into eighth notes. So 2 eighth notes instead of 3 eighth notes. So here's what that looks like. We've got a triplet, normal eighth notes, and then another triplet and normal eighth notes. Now I'm going to play this for you, and then we'll play it in a scale as well. And I'll also give you some words to help you remember how this is supposed to sound. Okay, to apply these rhythms, we're going to practice them on a scale. Don't worry, we'll start easy and then get harder. Once you're comfortable with these scales and these rhythms, you are more than welcome to practice these rhythms on all of your scales that you know, all of the octaves. But for now, I'm going to just play a 1 octave G major scale. Now, something that I'm going to use to help you understand the bigger beats is my handy dandy metronome. Now, I'm using my phone to record, but I usually use the metronome on my phone. That way I can hold the phone close to me. I can wear earphones. You can do the same with a computer. If you just Google metronome, you can set it at whatever tempo you would like, and then use that as your practice method if you don't have one of these real fancy gadgets. So I have mine set at 54 beats per minute. I think that's a good starting tempo. If you want to get faster eventually, that would be awesome. I encourage you to challenge yourself and try that out as well. But for now, I'm going to set it at 54. And first, we're going to do just plain eighth notes, okay? I'm going to start this, and then we're going to play our G major scale with eighth notes. Ready, and... Okay, now we're gonna try the same thing, same beats per minute, but we're gonna have to fit triplets. So 3 eighth note triplets in each beat. You're welcome to listen to me play it first, and then you can rewind it and play it with me again, so that you can get used to how it sounds and how much faster it feels. It's not actually that much faster. We just have to cram 1 extra note in. It's no big deal. But I'll give you a count off if you would like to jump in and play, but if not, you can go ahead and rewind the video after you listen to it once or twice. The metronome is still at 54 beats per minute. Ready, and... Okay, finally, we're going to do the pattern that I showed you. We're going to do triplet, eighth note, triplet, eighth note. So a good way to remember this is to put words to it. I know some people who've done like blueberry ice cream, because blueberry works really well for the triplet because it has 3 syllables. So blueberry ice cream, or I even had a beginner come up with chocolate chip cookies. So you can come up with your own words to help you remember. I think I'm going to stick with chocolate chip cookies in my head, just because that's what I'm craving right now. This time I'm going to play it twice through. The first time I'm going to do it on each note. So I'll do triplet, eighth note on each note. Then we'll switch it up and do triplet, and then the next note will be the eighth notes. So each note gets 1 beat, but we'll alternate triplets and eighth notes. Okay, again, we're setting the metronome at 54. So the first time will be triplet and eighth note on each note. Ready, and... Now it'll be triplet and then eighth note, alternating for each note. Ready, and...